Hello, welcome back to the channel. In this week's video guys, we're back working on the standard 10. I've got a new stainless steel exhaust system to fit, so without further ado, let's crack on, get the spanners out and hopefully get it fitted. Let's see how this goes. Fingers crossed. Here we go guys, look at this. It's stainless steel, custom fabricated, made to order. I got this through the Owners Club, the standard Owners Club. Shout out to those guys, they're brilliant. It's got a nice new shiny downpipe. Those cars have only got one silencer, so that should hopefully do us. And it's made to the original specification, so it's importantly not going to sound too different, because I didn't want it to be too loud or too quiet. So hopefully that'll sound quite nice in the car. I'm excited to get this on the vehicle, so let's get the spanners out and try and get it fitted. So for those of you tuning in for the first time, this is my 1958 standard 10. And before anyone says I've got it jacked up on axle stands this morning, not just a trolley jack. I don't normally do that, to be fair. So let's go underneath the car and I'll show you the problem with the exhaust. It started to blow from the downpipe. You can see here it's been cobbled together previously in the past. There's some tape there. I've just taken the exhaust clamp off and that's actually loose. I'm hoping for the moment to reuse the original downpipe, because there's nothing actually wrong with that, and it would save disturbing the gasket, which is further up off the manifold obviously. But if I can reuse that and then have the stainless system for the way back, because if I could do that it'd be a lot straightforward and I could get it swapped over quicker. But we'll get this all apart. We'll see in what state this pipe's like and see if that is feasible. Right guys, before I get stuck in with the spanners, I just want to touch on a few issues that we had with the last video, namely the overheating problem. I don't think this car has been overheating. Somebody who watches my channel left a little comment saying, "You've overfilled your radiator." It's important to remember, older cars like this, they don't have an expansion bottle, so normally an expansion bottle takes some of the fluid from the radiator as it gets hot and the water level rises and it expands, and then is drawn back as and when the system requires it. With this, there's an overflow pipe from the top of the radiator and it just dribbles, it vents to air if you like. So it's important you don't overfill the radiator right to the top, because naturally as the water level gets hot and starts boiling and getting warm if you like, the natural level of the water will rise and overflow. I think that's what was happening, because when I did a coolant flush on this car and had the radiator out, the book said 4.5 litres. I wasn't able to thoroughly drain the engine, because unfortunately the drain tap on the engine block and on the rad is sea solid. I didn't want to cause a leak, so I've left them well alone. So I was just topping the radiator up to the point where I thought it needed to topping up. And I think what's happened is I've put far too much water in there. The car's got warm, of course, as I've driven around its levels risen and then naturally vented to air. Next week my friend Nick, who's a mechanic, is going to come around. He's going to do a couple of things. First he's going to help me get the oil filter off, because that's a bit of a pig to get to. We're going to do a compression test on the engine and just see if the cylinders are happy. I'm sure they are, because I don't actually think there's anything wrong with the mechanics of this vehicle other than the exhaust, which we're hopefully going to fix today. So let's crack on with the spanners and see if we can get this exhaust changed. So I've got a little hubcap to catch all the nuts and bolts so we don't lose anything. Well, that was quite loose actually. No wonder it's blowing. So I'm going to disconnect everything from the hangers and then hopefully just drop the exhaust as one piece, and then we can offer it up to the new stuff and get it all aligned properly. That's off the hanger. Okay, so that one's, as you can see, that's off the hanger there. Might need a spanner on that. Why didn't I bring spanners out with me? That's silly of me. Oh, is that where it's joined to the? Okay. Let's just leave that one alone. If I just take it off here, in theory I can drop it without having to disturb those two parts, so that might be easier. That's going to drop, isn't it? Of course it's going to drop. Why didn't I think of that? One moment, caller. Change your mind. I'm going to undo it from the back box if I can, and we'll slide the rear pipe back, and that'll just give me a bit more freedom with the centre silencer. Nice and loose. This reminds me of my friend Alex. He changed the exhaust recently on a P4 after it got a bit farty. So hello Alex, if you're watching. I presume you're watching. How's your back? Alex has had a bad back, bless her. I know that frustrates her when she's trying to do videos on the cars, because it just restricts what you can do, guys. It'll be interesting to see the state of this exhaust when it comes off, when it finally comes off. That's now loose enough to be welded off. Is that being welded? Please tell me that hasn't been welded. We've had some cowboys in here, guys. Oh, she's off. Right. Okay. That's good. Not sure about that pipe yet. Let's get the camera and have a look. Oh god, the U-12 is far too old. Now I'm not sure whether that's gonna... It might be alright, I suppose. Looking a bit sad though, isn't it, guys? Will the new silencer slide over that and not blow? Can we give it a try, can't we? So this is what we're working with at the moment. All this is going to be replaced. I'm going to get all this off the car, then we can get the new stuff side by side and start building it up, because it's in about 4 different parts, the new exhaust. That'll be a lot easier to fit, fingers crossed. So I'm going to crack on and get the rest of this off the car, guys. Back in a sec. Just going to fit 11mm. Probably not quite right for the car, but it'll do for this purpose. I have wire brushed and thoroughly plus gases beforehand, so makes the job a bit easier. But this appears to be the only other mounting point on the exhaust, so I'm going to just undo this clamp and it should slide out, in theory. So this is what I've been struggling with, guys. This nut was not going to move at all. I had to get the locking needle on those pliers on there. But fortunately that's now turning. I just need to get a screwdriver in here. Leave this clamp apart, so at the moment it's stuck to the pipe. Try and do this one handed. So I'll free this off from the pipe and then the whole lot will slide back, hopefully. There we go. Well, with it off the car, you can see. Not sure what this tape was trying to do, but stop it blowing possibly. But anyway, not happy there. I wonder if the silencer's alright. I might try and see if I can clean up and it might go again. You never know. But obviously evidence of some sort of previous bodgery. And this is what I did the other day, but this has gone there as well. I didn't spot that. Yeah, shot. It's very muggy, it's very humid today, not helping my enthusiasm at all, guys. But anyway, the exhaust is off the car, we're halfway there. I see you need charging, so I'm going to go and pop you on charge. That's a good excuse to make myself a cup of tea, and I'll be back out in a bit to do the rest of it. Great. So I'm back underneath the car, way! And unfortunately it's not so good news. The original downpipe is too narrow to fit into the new silencer. I just did a trial fit and it's like a sausage in a hallway. So unfortunately this is too narrow to join into the new centre box. I could try and clamp it down, but I don't want to distort it and potentially damage it. So we're going to have to take that off at some point and fit the new stainless downpipe, which isn't the end of the world, but yeah, I'll show you what I mean on the new system. Once again, this is the old exhaust, and like I said, I think, well, I know, I can see from looking, the original pipe is a much thinner diameter, so although it's got the same flange joint on the manifold, the original pipe is narrower, so hence why it's not going to fit. Whereas the new downpipe is a snug fit, so that's not going to work, unfortunately. Right, it's actually a week later, guys. I had to finish filming last week. I ran out of time. I didn't have the right tools to do the job. So my good friend Nick has come around this morning and helped me get this off, the manifold downpipe. Wasn't too much of a chore. We actually spent longer trying to work out what was used to bolt into position, and I'll show you that in a second. But yeah, what's annoying about this is I could have reused this if that had been the same size as the sustain system. I could have just sleeved it and left it in place and saved disturbing the gasket, but it's done now. Speaking of the bolts, I don't know if you can see, guys, on camera, but they're two different threads. The original manifold would have had two studs protruding, and then you put a nut on the bottom. They've been removed at some point in the car's 68-year history and replaced with these. So I popped down to my friendly motorist centre where I work, and they had these on the shelf. So no, I'm not going to be refitting these. They're going to go in the bin once the job's done. So let's see if we can get this manifold in position. Right, so this is my new gasket, and I'm going to apply a bit of fire gum just to the sides of it. And why am I doing that? Well, rather than struggling holding the manifold in place and trying to get the bolt started through it, I'm going to stick it to the base of the underside, if you like, of the manifold there, and hopefully gravity will hold that in place. Don't want to say gravity, but you get the idea. Let's give this a go. Finger this into position. Well, it's all gone a bit hub-nut. Well, actually a few days later on. Nothing fits properly, and I'll show you that in a second. But I've had to wait for some car parts to come through. This is the original exhaust hanger for the back tailpipe. Just obviously passes through there, and that bolts to the body. That bit there is too small for the new pipe to pass through. I've tried opening it up, but it's just mangled it, so I've done away with that. I've been on eBay and bought an exhaust hanger, so we're going to use that with a new clamp. That will hopefully pass through the tailpipe on the car, which is too long. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that, but yeah. I've got a few little jobs to do, then we can get this car fired up for a test drive, and hopefully, please hopefully, nothing will blow or sound nasty. Let me show you what I mean. Right, so here's the new shiny downpipe. Isn't it lovely, guys? But it's too long. I'm convinced it should stop further back, because what's happened is, as a result of this being too long, the rest of the exhaust has been pushed further back, which means the centre silencer no longer marries up with this. There should be a bracket that hangs off that and clamps to this part of the exhaust, but that's now above this, so I'm going to have to fashion some sort of strap around this and then anchor it up to that attachment there. I think I've got a cable tie that can do that. It's a metal cable tie, so it won't melt. So from the centre box back, it just tails off down here and comes out at a jaunty angle. If I lift this up, and I've got it supported on a wire at the moment, but that's going to have to be up here. But it's going to foul on the fuel tank, so if this is all further back, it wouldn't be an issue. See, if I cut that downpipe and made it shorter, it would make the whole lot come back a bit further and it would line up, but I'm just loath to do that, so I'm going to see if I can get this up high enough that it's not going to knock and foul or anything. But just don't know if that's going to work, guys. Right, I think that's going to have to do it, guys. The exhaust is fitted. It's not ideal. I'd like the whole system to be further back, but realistically the only way I can do that is to shorten that downpipe, and I don't want to do that with a hacksaw blade. I'll be there forever. Might need to get aggressive with an angle grinder. Not ideal really for a new system. I just want it to be right out the box, don't you? But anyway, it's on the car. But does it blow? We'll fire the car up in a minute and then test fire it and see what it's like. I fitted that exhaust hanger. I'll show you that in a second. I've found a way of supporting the centre box. Yeah, actually let me show you that first. So this is what we've got going on here currently, guys. It's not ideal, but it's on there. It's not going to move, that's well supported. I suppose it doesn't stick out too far, but the original one was like further back. I'd like to try and keep it original. I suppose I could just chop that off, but that would look unsightly. And in the centre there, I've just used a steel cable tie. That's going to hold that in place, hopefully. I also need to get another clamp. I've run out of clamps, but we'll get that sorted. But let's give it a test fire. Right, test fire time. Obviously this won't start straight away because it's got to bring the fuel through from the tank, but should fire up pretty quickly. Bit of choke. Lovely. Well, I'm going to get this back onto its wheels. I might just take it around the block and see what it sounds like. Good times. Right, let's go for a test drive. I don't know where my dash mount is, so you're just in the glove box at the moment. Well, it sounds a lot better. Apologies if you can't hear or see me. Not a lot I can do about that. This is all a bit last minute. So we're going to go out and get a takeaway. I think that's a good excuse for a test drive. God, these brakes are shocking. I've made it to my local takeaway, which means I can get dinner. Good times. Joking aside though, successful test drive. Very happy with the performance of the exhaust. It's not making too much noise, not overly loud, and it's not knocking, so that's brilliant. Still a bit of positioning to do. I'm not overly happy with the way it's laid out at the moment, but that is something I can tweak at another time, guys. It's on the car, which means I can use the car, which is what I wanted to achieve. So all good times. I'm going to go get dinner because my other half's waiting for some food. I'm starving and need a cup of tea. So thank you for watching, guys. Thank you for all the likes, comments, and sorry it's been a bit of a long one today, but it did drag over the course of 3 days. It's taken me a while to get that sorted. But thank you ever so much for watching. I shall see you soon with some more content on George and Stan and some car shows coming up. So yeah, all good things to look forward to. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you again soon. Take care. Right, takeaway.